Melody, thanks for emailing us your comment earlier. Hearing none, I'll bring it back for discussion.
Mayor Billy, before we get started, given the upcoming election in which I'm running unopposed, I would potentially directly benefit financially from this proposal, so I'd like to recuse myself from this discussion item.
Actually, good point. How does that, like, how would this actually play out and when? Yeah, you are. I can see the green light. Just maybe talk a little closer because
So really, Chris and I are the only ones who can participate in this discussion because we're the only ones who are not.
If we pass it in the next 2 meetings.
Well, yes.
I couldn't hear a thing going on in that room.
Yeah.
Did you, Andrew?
Yeah, we can't hear
yeah, okay.
Attorney Madsen.
Real Jennifer, do you mind just talking right into this? They can't hear you. If you got to hear yourself echo.
Also, the other people who could participate really are Nicole and Billy, because we don't know who's going to be the mayor. And Nicole, if she's still a trustee, she would not benefit from this.
But just to recap for everyone who didn't hear you previously, those who can participate are
Well,
Chris.
everybody except for Andrew.
everybody except for Andrew, which is why
Good foresight.
we
Andrew.
pointed. We had a conversation.
Okay. Well, okay. Thank you.
Well, I don't understand why would Luke and Chris be? They can
They are
partic-
not
I
going to
mean,
benefit.
They
from
won't
this,
get the
Tanya.
raise.
Oh, but Andrew would benefit because he might win, right?
Yeah.
Well, he will win.
He's almost guaranteed. He's guaranteed a seat.
His wife has said she will vote. No, that's not true.
He's running unopposed. And I mean, there's
He can-
3 seats and there's 2 people running.
Right. Yeah, we went through that. Yeah, perfect.
More questions or more points of discussion? I guess where I sit with it is, I think it's a great idea, and in many ways we should get compensation and earn it. I think it's terrible timing and terrible optics, and I think it's a great idea for us to refine and put on the shelf for another day. Like we budgeted in the red. That's where I sit. Bad timing, bad optics, everything going on. So that's just my thoughts today.
I have similar feelings, mainly because of the budget, more than the optics. I mean, we're in the red again, and that might change next year. Could change in 2 years. I think it's really. I am torn because I do think that it's a chicken and egg problem, right? We want to encourage more people to come join the board and to do good work and to dedicate their time to it and dedicate the right amount of time, but how do we get those people without paying more? But on the other hand, we don't have the money to pay more. So for right now, I would say shelf it as well.
I think that's where the non-monetary compensation can play, because I think that's something that can occur outside of the election cycles as well, because it's non-monetary. If we were to offer all our boards gym memberships,
I think that's
things like that, then they're not tied to this, oh, well, it's not going to take effect for 2 years.
I'm on the other side of that. I feel like regardless of how the optics might look and the budget might look, what we're going to ask from the incoming boards over the next several years is going to be more significant than historic boards. I mean, I think this board has had to put in a lot, and certain people especially. So I think it's just almost a necessity that we need to prepare you know, the entire system to have people who are able and willing to dedicate the time to make this all work. So it seems like if we shortchange it right now, you know, I mean, we're already facing a shortage of trustees, and you know, I don't think that's a great way to head into the decision-making process we're gonna have to face over the next cycle. So I'm much more in favor of just finding a way to do it. Supplemental budget, enterprise fund, whatever, you know, what we gotta do.
Question
Well,
for
at what
Jennifer.
level are you
Yeah.
talking?
Well, I-
Yeah,
Or not.
that
I
I
don't
don't,
think he's
that I
there
don't
yet.
know. I'm not there yet, but
Mhm.
we should be doing something that encourages people to participate and to actually spend the time to do it right.
So
Well, I would argue to go to the rate of inflation would be reasonable.
I
And,
know,
and I would
Yep.
also say that as being on this board for 6 years, the time when we were debating the marshal and interviewing marshals, going through all of that process was far more, other than people like Nicole and others who have been heavily involved in meetings, but just as far as executive sessions and et cetera, with the Eldora thing, that was far more time consuming
It was.
than well, and Billy, you weren't even there for all of it. I mean, it was
Right.
a lot. And that could happen any moment again, or even with the town admin, we were all there for that, for the interviews. I mean, so it's just part of the job, you know?
Yeah.
And I really hope that we create this mountain board that handles a lot of the nitty gritty so that we are only faced with the budget to approve or deny it. When that, or not we, they, because I won't be there, but, what about the health insurance? I mean, what is an average? I mean, would that help people? Because I know I'm self-pay. So to be even just to self-pay into a group or people with pre-existing conditions, I know it's only temporary, so it's not going to give people like true reprieve, but that I'm all in favor of.
Okay, so you're in favor of maybe not much of a pay raise,
Well,
if
I would
any,
do the
but
inflation
the
and I would
insurance
do
maybe.
the insurance and I would do gym memberships for everyone. I've only been once in all these years. That's horrible. But
Okay, thanks.
I would- I
Luke
was
Quick
just-
and then
Yeah, I was just
Chris.
saying, like, to me, it's the complexity more than the time. That's the thing for me. I mean, I
yeah,
know that there are things that are going to take more time than just regular meetings for any random number of things, but it's the complexity that people are going to have to understand in order to
well,
make
then
good
at that point, it's an
decisions.
application process because I don't understand the complexities of all this.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. That honestly, it's a
Yeah,
fair point, Tanya.
I
Like,
really am not qualified to have made any of these decisions.
Chris, you had a question.
yeah, because I mean, obviously, we'd have to make the decision now to move forward on this or not, because we have the election pressure. You know, this is a bad time to be trying to make this on a quick turnaround. So I was wondering, is there an alternate option where we put this before the town itself and put it as a ballot issue? Like in the general election this fall, we're going to have a coordinated election. We could have this on the ballot, say, hey, you know what, we've done big things on the town this year. Let's compensate, or here's the new structure. These are the numbers. We then have a little bit of time to actually look at it. We get the closure of the deal in a couple months. We have a better idea of the overall financial structure, and then we can say, okay, we're going to put this before all of the town of Nederland. Do you want to pay the trustees 10,000 a year, or whatever the number comes out to be? And so it's taken off of our backs to decide, and it then would take effect for, I think if it goes through the ballot process, it can take effect kind of beginning of the next year, or does it have to wait for the next term still?
I would really need to research that, just because there's a Colorado statute that just specifies that your emoluments cannot be increased during the term of office. So it doesn't say that the governing body can increase it. It's not limited to just the governing body.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
thought there was a way around, I thought this might be a
That
way
sounds
around
very
that.
creative. I really like it. But I can't give you an answer just off the cuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do like that idea though of putting it to a vote, and that does take some of the trying to cram this in before the election seems kind of tough.
Nicole?
Yeah, so one of the reasons why, because I had suggested this a couple of meetings ago, and one of the key reasons was, Trustee Miller, I think you brought up a couple of points, is that we tend to have vacancies. I also notice we tend to not attract a certain slice or cohort of our constituency. These are oftentimes hourly workers. These are folks maybe in rental situations that still live within the municipality. And I think very deeply, because I was in those situations at one point, that when you have a lack of resourcing, it's very hard to then make the argument that you can donate your time to something, bigger, when like having some of those additional voices is super critical. And so for me, like at a minimum, it wasn't even actually a conversation around compensation. But when John and I were having a conversation, he's like, we should build in some muscle to like just bring this before the board anyway, like to start having these conversations. But for me, it really was around like health insurance. Like, Trustee Corvalon has mentioned that, she pays into that herself. Like, what if she had that support system over these last years that she has given, and that we were paying for her health insurance? That could be like a huge thing. And so that's what it was mostly for me, was to be able to say, hey, you come and you do this service, and we're going to kind of take care of your health from that perspective. So that was really kind of the minimum that I was looking at. But this bigger conversation of compensation is great. It's fine. That's not necessarily what would, I think, like being able to have the provision to state we can cover your health insurance. I think that's huge. And I don't mind like having that as a thing. We already cover health insurance for our staff. We are considered W-2 employees. We are paid just like a worker. And so for me, this is just an extension of that, in order to support the folks that give their time. So for me, it's sure we can put it on an election, and it's also, I see that as like an administrative process in order to support our folks. So.
Yeah, I mean, increasing the diversity of the board by,
Yeah.
creating some support for people who might not, be able to feel like they can justify the time is valuable. But I think the monetary compensation fits into that as well. For somebody who's, they're hourly worker or whatever, and, an extra $150 a month that may not feel much, but an extra $1,000 a month, you might be like, oh, yeah, all right, that'll help a lot. Covers my rent.
And the reason why I was like, can we have this conversation before the election, is because we know that we're going to have an open seat. And it's a great way to test like the viability of, and like to attract more folks. Like we've got some real things that we're dealing with now, real complexity, and we are willing to support you in this process. We didn't get that, but that's okay. We're setting it up, like you're saying, like the infrastructure for the future to send the signal that we're going to take care of folks.
So where do we go from here?
I do love the idea of increasing the demographic of people that
Yeah.
do this kind of thing. Or can.
We structurally do not create space for that other demographic.
Right.
Like it's not feasible.
Yeah.
If we're talking about, hey, go donate your time, you're an hourly worker, every hour matters. And especially if we're talking about those folks who are also parents or caregivers.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
How much of this would we consider extending to the advisory boards? Because I mean, that is where we, suffer the most shortage. And if we're going to create another board for the Mountain Recreation Enterprise Fund, whatever, like that, we're gonna have another advisory board that we have to staff, and how much of this benefit, whether it's monetary or non-monetary, I mean, that seems to me like another thing where
so
we do ask a lot of those,
So
especially.
I'm gonna real quick, I'm gonna give this 3 more minutes because I want to give the last one 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Does the board request for direction on the page 249? Does the board wish to revisit compensation for future terms of office? If so, which structural options should staff evaluate? Should benefit participation be incorporated into the evaluation? Should non-tax compensation options be evaluated? Are there any other considerations for staff?
I would like to propose that we direct staff to look into offering health benefits as a first start for BOT members. The non-cash would be, like, yes, recreation opportunities as like just a first step.
For BOT only or for the other boards as well?
Well, so we would have to have we would have to structurally start paying planning commission, if like, say we started with one board, in order for them to get health insurance. So
Yeah,
it would
they'd have to be
be,
employees.
they would have to be considered employees. And so it's sort of like, I think maybe a first step is, why don't we look at compensation? Like, what does that look like for a planning commission? Let's get some details of what that is. And then at least it's just like a first step. And then look at maybe health benefits at a later time, but work in health benefits for BOT
Yeah.
And the
I would-
budgetary impact of what that is.
and the budgetary
Because that's the
impact.
critical thing, is we
Right.
can't afford any of this.
Right. And maybe first step is actually, what is the impact of just having us or having the Board of Trustees be able to access a group plan versus but getting it paid for by town, right? There are two separate things. I think first step is just, can you get a group plan? And then you would have to still pay for it. Second step would be the town paying for it, which I don't think we have the finances to do right now.
And what is interesting about our group plans is how affordable or difference in paying that they are from the private sector. And so I think that there could be some interesting mathematics and just like, yes, what does it mean to access? What does it mean to pay 50% as a first step, right? Let's play with those numbers a little bit so that we can say that we're moving in a direction to set up, like Luke said, this infrastructure.
The other, I would look for per meeting stipend for the advisory boards as a non-employee, but just something, even if it's like $25 a meeting or something, just for the advisory boards.
For all the advisory boards or just the planning commission?
Maybe start with the planning commission, but
Okay.
just, as something to, what does that look like? Because
Go ahead, John.
these guys are once a month and there's 10 people, so you're looking at like $200 a month, right?
Another thing that we need to bring back forward is our boards and committees ordinance. And I think that that is a good place to think about this, because remember, our advisory boards are not codified. And I think there's some work that needs to happen in that space. And so maybe another point here is to keep that conversation together.
That's a good point.
What else do you need? So I know I'm probably, trying to get done by 10:30. Is there any other guidance you need or anything else, Nicole, you want to say to round out what you were proposing?
Yeah, I mean, I would love for this to be available for that open seat that's coming before us. We know we're going to have to make a decision on that, whether that's putting it to a special election or it is to appointments. What could possibly be the process? And I mean, John, you could come back to us with these numbers and everything, but would folks be open to like a draft? Would this would be through ordinance, or would it be through? It would be through ordinance. They might not be able to. They might not be able to hear you.
Can't hear you. Sorry.
Any increase in pay would have to be through an ordinance. The other items that you discuss may, may not need to be through an ordinance, could be done probably through a resolution.
What about the medical benefits?
That would probably be through the best thing would be an ordinance.
Just,
but
okay,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
John, do you have what you need? Because we're out of time.
So then a draft ordinance would be okay.
Thank you. John, got 8 minutes for the consideration of moving April 7th meeting date.
If, as long as March 3rd is 31st, I need your time for that meeting. We have to do it. So if that date works, it's a fifth Tuesday, and I think
The budget.
yeah, it's the budget and also
and
the
now-
overlay district.
Now the overlay district, yeah.
Yeah.
Does the board wish to reschedule this meeting to March 31st? Nods?
If I'm here that day, I will probably get incinerated by my husband because it is my birthday. And so
Oh,
We could have a cake.
I will tell him that, but I
He could
don't
come
know.
he could come.
I don't
Beer
know that
floats
it'll,
and
He
cake.
could sit in one of these cushy chairs.
I don't know that it'll get me where I need to go. So I will leave it to y'all. I am close enough to John on a daily basis that I'll look at it beforehand, but
Thank you. Oh, yeah, public comment on switching our April 7th meeting to March 31st because of the election. Charlie, you're good? Online, anyone have a public comment on this? Hearing none? I think you got your nods. And then just even though we glazed over it. Thank you. So I think you have your nods here. You have what you need, right, John?
Thank you all.
Anything else you needed for that last thing?
Just be kind to Macy. She's about to go through a lot. And so I just recognizing the
Oh.
election is coming and she's doing great. And I think it's going to be a great election. So
Doing great, Macy. Any other items? Anything else on the compensation that you felt like you didn't get to say because I cut you off?
move to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Macy?
Mayor Billy,
Yes.
Trustee Miller,
Yes, please.
Trustee Corvalon,
Yes.
Trustee Jocelyn.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Mayor Pro Tem Sterling.
Yes.
Trustee Maris.
Yes.
And Trustee Larson. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned at 10:24 p.m.
Thanks, everyone. We really appreciate it.